Hello, I wanted to make this video to welcome those of you who are joining our Japanese lessons in November 2020, quite a few months into the COVID-19 lockdown. So we've already been running the Japanese sessions, I think we're now on week 24 with 4 sessions per week and an added one on Sunday. So we've already accumulated quite a few hours of doing this Japanese study using Zoom. So we've learned quite a lot about how to best run these lessons when we're using Zoom in this time. So I wanted to just talk about a little bit what you might expect and what you might experience during these Zoom classes. So to make a distinction between the original group and the beginners group, I'd like to say for those people who are starting in November 2020 that you'll be called the Asahi group in the Andy's Japanese Corner Facebook group. So if you ever see something with Asahi on it, meaning morning sun, then this is referring to you guys who are starting with us fresh at the end of 2020. I just want to talk a little bit about what we'll do during the sessions and how we'll run the sessions. Each session will start at 11 AM, 11 o'clock in the morning, UK time. So whatever Facebook says on the events, make sure that this is correct. It will be starting 11 AM UK time. They will run between 90 minutes and 2 hours. Most of the time we'll probably find that they take up to 2 hours. Not because people are slow, it's just that we've always managed to fill up this amount of time with whatever we're doing. The majority of the sessions are going to be focusing on grammar, and as quickly as I can I want to focus on the more difficult grammar in Japanese, because most of the easy grammar you can pick up yourself fairly easily by reading books or looking at YouTube stuff. But if I focus on the difficult grammar, then I can help you to overcome any difficulties or questions you might have about the more problematic Japanese grammar. The other thing is that we will learn vocabulary, we'll be learning different words, by hooking new words onto the new grammar that we learn. So we can think of the grammar as being like the trunk of the tree and the branches and the twigs, and the vocabulary is going to be the leaves, but without having that tree first, just learning lots and lots of new vocabulary won't help you to remember it, it won't give you a context in which to remember it, you won't be learning really useful Japanese. The thing about knowing lots of vocabulary is it can help you to say the thing you want to say, but without the correct grammar you might end up saying the complete opposite of what you're trying to say. So understanding the grammar primarily first is really, really important. Of course, I can only teach you in one of two languages, either in Japanese, but most of the time I'll be speaking to you in English. For those of you who don't have English as your first language, I will speak as slowly and as clearly as I can. And if there's anything that you don't understand, then please stop me and ask me to explain. I have no problem at all in explaining things much slower and much clearer if you need me to. If we're focusing on Japanese grammar, then a lot of the time I'll be making explanations about English grammar. So hopefully this will be easy to understand again, but I will take the time to help you to understand what it is we're saying. The thing that we'll be focusing on first is going to be in programming your brain to start to use Japanese immediately. When you speak, not only are you learning the skills to produce sentences, but you're hearing yourself back. So you're already developing some listening skills through talking. So the first thing we're going to be doing, once we learn some basic principles, is focusing on talking. So in the sessions, I'll be asking you to do a little bit of problem solving, a little bit of translation, and for you to be saying these things in Japanese. This might feel a little bit intimidating for you, but please don't worry. This is the right place to do it. I'm going to ask that during our Zoom sessions that we don't use the chat function of Zoom. So for those of you who don't know what this is, This is the ability to send messages between us on Zoom. Now, the reason why I would ask you to not use it is that while you're writing a message, you're not listening and you're not participating, you're not joining in. And while I have to read the message, it means that my attention is taken away from everybody else to read your message. So I would ask that we don't use chat. If there's anything that really needs to be messaged, then we can use chat, of course, but I'd ask you to not use it for sending messages either to me or to the rest of the class. The most important thing is that you don't feel bad about making mistakes. The way that these classes are run are based mostly on the Michel Thomas method of language, which is to look at the way that children learn to speak languages. When children learn to speak, they don't start off with a textbook and then try to learn the grammar as we're having to do, but they start off by talking and then they get corrected. And generally they learn more by being corrected and having things explained to them than just by the first course of observation. So the first time they hear a word being used, the next thing they'll try to do is to use it. They probably will use it incorrectly. They'll ask about it, then they'll get corrected, and then they learn this way. So this is the best way to learn and to reinforce memory for languages into your brain. So I really recommend that you don't feel bad about making mistakes. Making mistakes is good. Being corrected is good. This all helps you to memorise what we're doing. For the Asahi class, we'll only be doing one session a week at the beginning. So some of you might miss the odd class. What I would ask you to do is that we now have a complete YouTube channel of all of the sessions. So I'd ask you to go back and catch up before you join the next session so that you have the previous week's new information well established in your brain before you start to pick up new topics. You will see on the YouTube channel that we also have ghost sessions. These are on Sunday. These are basically trying to get a little bit more focus on tuning your ears and your listening. So if you're in the Asahi class, you're more than welcome to come and join the Sunday sessions, the ghost sessions, but you might find it a little bit advanced at the moment. What I would recommend is that you start catching up those ghost sessions on the YouTube channel and trying to enjoy them this way at the beginning. If you find them really easy and you think you can come and join the ghost session, by all means you can. If you want to come and join in on the ghost sessions and just listen and just watch and not actually take part, this is also absolutely fine. Everything is open to everybody. A quick word about money. I just asked for a donation to pay for my Zoom account and the YouTube account, so I'd ask you to make a voluntary donation. The recommended minimum is £5 UK. You can pay it into the PayPal account, which is detailed on the Facebook page. Even within the Asahi group, there will be people of different levels. Some of you will be coming to Japanese already with some experience and some knowledge of Japanese. Some of you will be coming from the first level, from absolute zero. Some of you will advance quicker than others. Some of you will lag behind a little bit. It really doesn't matter. In any class there will always be a variation of levels. For those of you who are feeling that you're at the lower end of the class, then you'll be able to listen to other people talking and understanding for you to help your own understanding. For those of you who are at the more advanced level of the class, you will be able to hear the problems that people of lower levels have and hear how their problems are resolved. So this is also really important to reinforce your understanding. Most important thing is to try and enjoy this. Don't feel pressured. There are no exams, there are no tests. We will have a little assessment during maybe about week 15, but this is only a personal assessment for you to get a feel as to what subjects you are having more difficulty with and what things you don't have to worry about because you're already at a good level. So please don't feel pressured to perform. This is about participation and enjoying learning Japanese together. There's a few final things I would like to say. Firstly, I'm not a linguistics expert. I'm not qualified to teach Japanese. There are many people probably in the community that you know who speak and understand better Japanese than I do. I just hope that we can enjoy ourselves learning a bit of conversation together. We may go into very fine detail about grammar, but I may not know all the answers. But I will try to find out the answers. But most of the time, this will be conversational Japanese, so you don't need to know to a great degree all the details about Japanese grammar. I look forward to seeing you at our first session and all subsequent sessions coming up soon. As I said, Thursday morning will be at 11 o'clock UK time. So please enjoy and 頑張りましょう!